let's talk about the office building. And this is a really cool visual that you came up with. And this is probably a good printable or download that we can create to show the different levels of what an entrepreneur does in their business. And it's just a cool. You want to start? You want to jump into that?
I'm a visual learner. As I was learning real estate, a good friend of mine has a house that's broken down with the different benefits of owning a house and then how you can. It was pretty much to help you with deal structuring, but just to let me wrap my head around what I'm trying to do with real estate. So I think just having an office building with different floors, letting them know like to have a business, most businesses have marketing, most businesses have research and development, most businesses have managing. It's just the floors of the business that you will have to run to those floors to handle those tasks in the beginning. But as you grow, you want to be able to hand those off. And you can look at big corporations like McDonald's. The person that owns McDonald's is not going to every restaurant, making every order, taking it,
Right.
flipping the burgers. He's not doing that. He has at some point to be that big, have that handed off, and those SOPs to do that. So I think thinking of it as a visual aid where it's floors will allow you to go, okay, I'm putting on my marketing hat. What are the tasks for my personal business that are custom to me that need to get done for me to go to the next level? Some of it is learning, and that takes time. And I think as the business owner, that is something that you can do in the beginning. But as soon as you get to the point where you're like, my business is growing, it's very successful, I have a little bit of money, I can hire somebody to do the marketing and hand that off. As long as you're getting the analytics of it, this is what we're trying to show you in this office building example is these are the different pieces of businesses. You might have a custom floor specific for you, but in general, most people have, I think, 5 floors. There's the maybe financing is kind of the basic bottom floor, then managing operations, marketing, sales. And then, like I said, research and development, which is, I think, my favorite floor, because that's how you kind of structure and do everything.
Yep. So you got the management floor, which typically I would imagine that's not something that people outsource right away. That's not until you have a team.
Yes.
So as an entrepreneur who's kind of doing it all at the beginning, you're doing the planning, the strategic vision and you're always going to, as an entrepreneur, as the CEO, you're always going to be casting that vision. That's not something I think you would ever want to outsource. Now you can partner up with people who maybe can help you see it bigger. And help you with that part of it, but that's probably not the first thing that you're going to be outsourcing.
Everybody's business might have those floors organized differently, but I do agree with you. Managing is probably near the top of this office building, where it's like, this is more of your zone of genius. This is going to be difficult to hand off, and then just working down from there.
So the second one is operations, and you say that's the heart of a business that's providing goods and services. There are some tasks in operations that I think somebody could be. There was even an operations manager that as you get to a certain level, you may hire out a COO, chief operating officer, and you're kind of the visionary person, casting the vision, setting goals, and just say, hey, COO, it's your job to see that our people carry this out. No, I'm not at that level. That would be really cool to have somebody that kind of just completely runs the business, and I can be up here just thinking and dreaming and learning and networking. Not there yet, and I would say most entrepreneurs
working towards it,
listening are not there yet either. But
operations is those day-to-day tasks, like you were saying, to pack and ship, just the things to get those products out the door to the customers. Those are the more operations. I think those are repeatable tasks, almost like the McDonald's example, the dropping the fries. If somebody orders fries, that's an operational procedure that is maybe the easier task to hand off in the beginning, because it's the stuff that you're doing day to day.
In a fulfillment business and an e-commerce business, the prep and the ship, if you're doing you're selling something on your website and you have a stack of books that you're mailing out, that's something that could be outsourced to a fulfillment center, so you're not having to do that task.
That's another reason why I like this visual aid, because there are multiple options to this. I think we'll be saying VA, virtual assistant, to do some of this. Some of it is a business, like the prep and ship business. Some of it is maybe even software that can help you with these and get your time back. But it is just a concept to realize, like, these are different parts of the business. When I'm putting on this hat, I need to recognize that I'm putting on this hat and attempt to build some type of procedural assembly line process for this. If I can. If I can't, then it seems like this should be something that is more custom fitted to me. but the procedures of the day-to-day business is something that you should be able to hand off. Like Ryan was saying, the management is not something that you can just go, here's the assembly line process for managing. It's a little bit more customized. You might have to hold on to that task a lot longer until your business is set up where it has a bunch of SOPs and it can run a little bit more like clockwork. And then you go, okay, the management piece now has to just check these quantity qualities and it can be handed off at that point. But you will have to start down the chain and just say, what are the things that can be handed off? Marketing is probably the next floor.
Yeah, the next floor is marketing and sales. You're always going to be doing that as an entrepreneur, as a business. And that doesn't mean you have to do it all. You definitely can hire people to help with that.
Yeah, I think something newer to me is, I have not done it yet, but hiring sales people to do sales calls. That was interesting to me to see, like, oh, I can write scripts. They can understand what my business is about and they can do the sales. So I don't have to be on all the sales calls.
Yeah.
And then my business can scale to the next level because I can hire that out.
Yes.
But marketing, just like you were saying with the social media marketing, sometimes it is just making post, editing a video, putting it up on YouTube, getting the word out there, writing an email. Like sales copy and all that stuff is, I believe, tasks that can be handed off if you have an understanding of it and create an SOP, or hire somebody that can manage a lot of that for you. Social media marketing is something that I think is becoming a lot more popular now, where companies can help you with social media marketing. That's something that I think are going to be building, is for people to be able to tap in and go, okay, I have a business. I want to be on the internet and make sure my products are getting out there. How do I do this? And then we can help you with the strategy. We can help you with the actual work that needs to get done. The branding building is something that you should be doing as a business. But I think once you have that and you have like a media kit, you can hand it off to other people and then they can promote your business and kind of work on a marketing campaign and then go, how do we promote this? What is the next thing we're going to be for next quarter? And then looking at the analytics. That's the part of the business that I think I like the most, is looking at the data.
Yeah.
More data-driven decisions.
Yeah, because your social media strategy, at least the way mine is set up, and I'm just learning this from Gary Vee, who has a large team of people. So I can't do the things that he does. Not yet, but I produce pillar content, which is that podcast, the Streams of Income podcast. Now the Unfrazzled Entrepreneur podcast is the one thing that I focus on my time on, as far as the content creation. But then I don't have, doesn't mean that I have to constantly write blogs and do all these other things. That my social media manager can pull from my podcast all the content that they need for that week's social media. And I have books and I have other things that and we have a document. So to kind of give you guys an idea of how this could work is, you as the entrepreneur can have a podcast, can have a blog. If you're a keynote speaker, you've got content out there that you're already producing, that you're good at, that you enjoy, that then somebody can come behind you and pull from that content, repurpose it, and put it on Twitter, put it on LinkedIn, put it on Facebook, put it on TikTok, put it on Instagram, wherever you want it to be, put it on YouTube. And you don't have to think about it. You just focus on producing your podcast, doing your keynote speeches, writing your blog, whatever that one thing that you do is. Maybe it's multiple things, but they'll pull from what you already have. So you're not having to think about what you're posting. They're literally just going to pull from what you're already producing. And it just takes the pressure completely off, because you know, if they're pulling from your stuff, it's good stuff because it's your stuff. And you don't have to think of, what am I going to post today? And now you can come in and do Instagram stories if you want to, and supplement that. But it can be pretty much completely hands off, to where you do your podcast, you do your blog, and then somebody helps you and pulls it apart, pulls out quotes, makes memes, makes pretty images, and posts it for you. That's where I know a lot of people I talk to, Stephen, are in that boat, where they know they need to be on social media, but they just don't have the know-how. They're doing it sporadically. So that's one piece, one big part of the business I believe we're going to be able to help people with. And we are going to have a service where we can help you do that with repurposing your content, and even helping you create that content if it's helping you with a podcast, if you don't have a podcast yet. So that's going to be fun, interesting, really excited to help people do that.
Yeah, and I think the other piece of it is the consistency piece. Being more data driven, like if you're doing it sporadic, it's very difficult to know what is working and what is not working. But having other people do it and be able to be consistent with it allows you to be able to look at the data and make better business decisions. Because then you go, maybe TikTok is not the best place. We're spending 100 hours a month trying to do stuff on TikTok and it's gave us no leads. We can't see it helping us with our brand building. There's not really anything going here. Then you don't have to be on TikTok. Because I think this is another thing with business owners is, do I need to be on TikTok? Do I need to be doing this? I don't know. I don't have the answer for you other than test, try it out and see, but you have to be consistent at least for long enough to make that decision. Should you be on TikTok as a doctor performing surgeries? I kind of don't think so, but you can test it out. Like, I don't think you should be making purpose-driven TikTok content because it feels like your time, energy, and effort is best served like doing the actual surgery work. But if you're able to make a video or talk ahead or have a call with a client and to be able to take a part of that, then you can take pieces of that and put it on TikTok. Not you doing it, but having a team be able to atomize your content and then use it where all those different platforms are to be able to get the word out to drive traffic back to your whatever your business is and your products.
Absolutely. All right. So that's the marketing and sales. Okay. The next one is finance and accounting. I know this is a huge pain point for most entrepreneurs because it's like the E-Myth book that you and I've talked about before privately, where you've got the lady who makes cupcakes, loves making cupcakes, makes amazing cupcakes, wants to create a business of selling cupcakes, and now realizes, oh man, now I got to do bookkeeping and accounting. That is completely outside of my wheelhouse. And so I know so many entrepreneurs that are trying to do the bookkeeping themselves, trying to do their accounting themselves, do their own taxes. I did it for a long time myself. Did it for a lot longer than I should have. As soon as you possibly can, hire that stuff out because that is just a time suck, a energy suck. Now, for some people who enjoy that, they get excited about that and they become accountants and they have their bookkeeping businesses and all that. And that's great. I'm glad those people exist.
I guess it's your zone of genius, your strength. Where is it? If you are really good at the numbers and you love it and that's what fulfills you, then stay on that floor. We're not saying like, okay, you have to move on to this. It's what's best for you. We just want to help you with different options at the different floors to be able to say, if you don't enjoy this floor of financing and accounting, you don't have to wear that hat. You can hand it off. It seems like in the beginning you have to have all these hats on, but like Ryan did not like that floor at all. He wanted to get out of the way of that. I like the financing side. Now the accounting piece is the piece that I handed off immediately because I was like, I don't enjoy tracking that stuff. I feel like that's again like managing that floor, and that's not what my strength is. But strategic, looking at the financing, where can we get financing? Like I enjoy that part of it. So I do wear that hat in my business. My business is a little bit more real estate right now. So I think the financing side is a bigger piece of that business. But in other businesses, especially e-commerce, is like the financing is normally not alone, especially in the beginning. It's like your own personal finance. So there's not a bunch of work to be done on that floor other than just the accounting side. And if you don't enjoy the accounting side, hand that off. There are a lot of accounting companies. There's a lot of different solutions to the different floors. We just want to help you with figuring out, is this the floor you should be on? Is it something you should hand off? And how can we help you hand those tasks off?
That's awesome. And one thing I think would be helpful for people is just to be, if they're going to be doing all the floors running up and down those stairs, or maybe they have an elevator in their office building, at least be aware when you start doing that. Okay, I'm taking my sales hat off. Now I'm putting my finance hat on. Just if you can be aware of that, and that's going to be huge, because then you can think, you know what? I don't like putting this finance hat on. Let's figure out how I can never have to put that on again. Doesn't mean you never stop at that floor. It just means you stop in the future. You stop at that floor from a CEO perspective, where you're talking to your the head of your finance department, and you're asking them questions like, how's it going? Let me see the report. It's like my financial statements I get from my accountant. That allows me to see how things are going without me being deep into the numbers. And so you're always going to be stopping at the floors, but you don't want to stop at the floors as a worker. You want to stop at the floor as you are the CEO of this whole thing, and you got people working for you. It doesn't mean you have to have 50 people working for you. It might mean one person on each floor doing the job that you need to do, that needs to get done. And as you grow, you need to add on people. But for me, I have a bookkeeper / accountant. That's one person that is on that floor for me. And occasionally I'll stop in and check and see how things are going. So just have that awareness of, I'm taking the marketing hat on, I'm putting on the customer service hat. Do I like this hat? Ooh, no, I don't like this hat. Okay, let's find somebody that can do that, because that's a task that's very easily outsourced.
Being frazzled, I think, is that same thing where you're not quite sure what floor you're on. You're not quite sure what hat you're wearing. That's where it gets I think
Yes.
especially in the beginning, it gets super frustrating. You feel overwhelmed. That's where you're
Yes.
frazzled. That's, I think, maybe the first phase of that frazzled entrepreneur where you're just feeling overwhelmed. But I think
Mm.
Ryan is 100% correct. As soon as you can at least identify what task, job, floor am I on right now? What am I doing? Do I like doing this? Is this the thing causing me
Am I
pain?
good at this?
Yes.
Yes.
Because this is another piece that we want to help you with, just clarifying to become an unfrazzled entrepreneur. We want you to be in your zone of genius, your strength, to be able to enjoy the work that you're doing and the business that
Yes.
you're building. And I think this is kind of very passionate for me because I was, especially starting off, like super overwhelmed all the time. And I just felt like this is what being an entrepreneur is. You feel this all the time. And then being on the other side of it and going, oh, being an entrepreneur is what I thought it was when I started. Super fun, exciting. I'm learning a whole
Yes.
bunch of stuff. I'm testing, I'm trying, I'm having success, I'm failing. From failures, I learn and then have more success. It is a fun journey to be on. But if you're the
Mhm.
one doing all of the work, that's where it feels like me, like I have a weighted jacket on that I just can't take
Mm.
off. And I think this is
Good.
why I'm super passionate about starting this now, as I'm coming out of that state of frazzled and then going into unfrazzled again, because I've jumped in and out of this. And I can recognize it much quicker now when I'm feeling that, like, oh, I'm just overwhelmed right now. And I think this
Right.
allows me to even help like clarify communications. Because even with Ryan, I told him, I don't want to start this right this second because I'm currently, I feel frazzled, overwhelmed. But when I feel like I'm getting on the other side of this, I'll reach
Mhm.
back out and then we can actually start this, because
Yeah.
I know this is a temporary feeling. Whereas
Sure.
before it felt like this is a forever feeling. Now I understand, I feel frazzled. Let me get back to the state of unfrazzled and
Right.
feel like I'm back in my zone of genius to be able to go, I'm enjoying this journey and I'm accomplishing a lot of things that I'm trying to
Yes.
accomplish. It's not you just drop it and don't do it. It's
Right.
you hand it off, you have somebody else help you, you partner, you hire a VA, you hire a full person. These are the things that we want to help you with and just identify. You're struggling right now. It doesn't have to be the struggle forever. You're hitting a pain point. Clarify which floor you're on, understand what you're doing, what do you like, what do you not like, and then let us help you be able to get the feeling of frazzled to become unfrazzled,
Mm.
uncomforted, enjoying being an entrepreneur again.
That's good. Okay. And then the last floor is research and development. What's that for most people that we're talking to? What is that piece?
I think for me, it's like the future growth.
Okay.
It's where, to me, it's the lifeblood of my business, because
Mhm.
I have an idea, I start the idea, then it turns into a business, then it starts generating cash consistently, and then I go, okay, how do I grow this? How do I go to the next level? How do I make this more efficient? How do I make this better? That's, to me, the research and development, where it's you're
Yeah.
just looking at the business and going, what can we tweak? What can we adjust? How do we make this move? Are we in the wrong industry? Should we go somewhere else and really clarify
Mhm.
this and take it to the next level? Do I want to get smaller where it's just like too much work is coming in? I need to
Yeah.
raise my prices a little bit to clarify and just make more money from less work. That's the research and development to me. It could be different in different businesses and different industries, but to me, that's what I think the research and development floor is just like, what is the better parts of the business and how do I make
Mhm.
better decisions in what I'm doing and moving forward?
That's good. Yeah. And it might be testing out new things, new ideas. You don't want to be the squirrel who's going after the acorn and constantly frazzled and just following those shiny objects. But you can have a point in your business where what you're doing is working. You've got that bolted down. You've got a team in place that are kind of running that allows you to shift some of your focus over to, you know what, I really want to write this book. I really want to create this course, but I got this e-commerce business over here that I'm into. Well, get that bolted down, get a prep and ship company, get hire shoppers so that it frees up your time. It buys your time to go test out some of these new ideas and test. And then what's cool about the internet is that you can test these ideas out sometimes free. At the very least, usually very, very, very cheap
Inexpensive,
to
yes.
see if you even want to move forward
Mhm.
with that new thing. Is this getting traction? Am I enjoying this? And so many cool things you can do.
I think another part of that research and development is industries are constantly changing. I read a book a while ago called "Who Moved My Cheese."
Uh-huh.
I don't remember
Yes.
exactly all the parts of the book, but it was like you're taking that same maze route to the cheese. At some point, that cheese is going to diminish. You're going to have to find a new route to new opportunities. I think
Yes.
the research and development allows you to be ahead of that curve, so you don't just get
Yes, it
stuck.
does.
I think when you're frazzled and you're doing everything you can just to like maintain business, you miss that when
Mhm.
the market shifts, when something changes, and you can't continuously do what you're doing to have the same success. You need
Right.
to be able to adapt to changing times, being able to be unfrazzled, have it under control, be in your zone of genius. You get to see what things are coming. So when the
Yes.
cheese moves, it's easier for you to adjust. And I
Yes, because
think
you
this
don't
is
have your head
maybe,
buried into in the tasks. We were talking
yes.
about this last night with the maps. Just thinking out loud. With Callan, for some reason, loves maps, and we were. He was asking about, satellites and what did you do? But he asked the question because somebody must have told him that our phone GPSs work off satellite. So he said, "What did you guys do before satellites?" Guys, he's 4 years old. He'll be 5 in April. So it blew my mind that he was even thinking about this. And we said, well, we had these fold out maps that you would, Rand McNally made these huge ones that are size of coffee table books that you would open up and find your place, or you'd have these big fold out maps that were, that would have, you couldn't get back together and you'd have to find find your place on the map and look at the signs. And I was asking Wayne, like, man, what is a company like Rand McNally doing now? Because most people don't use those maps. So I don't have it. I don't have the answer. I probably just could look it up and see if they've pivoted. But if they didn't pivot, they're done because nobody's using those fold out maps
And that's a
anymore.
repeatable story. I mean, look at Blockbuster now to
Yes.
Netflix. Look at the people that had castles to now we're in gunpowder and everything. I think this is why I'm again passionate about helping people become unfrazzled, because you need to be able to look at the landscape and see what's changing. And
Yes.
sometimes a big company like Blockbuster makes the wrong decision and it
Yeah.
leads to you going out of business. But
Yeah.
I don't know what they were going through, and I don't necessarily want to help you build a Blockbuster, but I just want people individually to be able to have the ability to make decisions, look at it, and without being overwhelmed. Because now, if a house opportunity comes up and I'm working on the pool pump, I just completely miss the opportunity. And then they go, see what happened? I thought you were doing good at this. And I go, oh, I was too busy doing things that were not my strength and
Yeah.
not worth my time, energy, and effort at the level that I'm at. Your level keeps changing, the markets keep shifting. But if you're in your zone of genius, I think it helps to make the best decisions that you can, because
Yeah.
you're able to see what's happening and you don't feel overworked, overwhelmed, distressed, to be able to make the correct calls and decisions for
Yes.
your business and for you.
That's good. Wow. That's probably a good place to stop our first episode. We've gone almost an hour, I think. So
Have we? Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
that's awesome. This flowed really well. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. We're gonna bring more of these to you. We love this topic. We want to help you get unfrazzled. So guys, we'll see you in the next episode.